I've sent you one of the videos that I made, well, I've been beginning to make since the beginning of April. And they're getting a really good reaction because they're very, very powerful. And today, I take a step forward in that I'm making this video specifically for you, and I've made one for somebody else who's very much wealthier than you. And I want to just talk a bit about where we are now and the way that I see you. The point at which, when we were speaking the other day, you cut me off, was when I was going to tell you or give an example of what I can see that most of us can't see. And I won't be talking about that now, but I'm going to send you a letter next week. It'll get to you on probably about Tuesday or Wednesday. But I just wanted to precede that with this video that I'll email to you. Let me tell you what I actually see when I see you, because it's not the same as what you see. When you first came here, I invited you here, you personally, and the reason I didn't know that it was you that would be coming, but I knew that the person who would come here to talk to me about conservatories was a very evolved person, where the role that I was meant to play was to free them from what had trapped them for many, many years. So this video is a very private way for you and I to talk, free of bullshit. And that bullshit is the word. So what I see when I see you, and what you're currently doing, is that you are trying to keep busy, because when you're busy, the thoughts on the edges of your mind cannot creep in. And you're at the point of choice, which is when you can, if you want, if you have the courage to, step onto a path that will take you through your ego and release the beautiful person that you can truly be. And I think that when you spoke last week and told me about the wealth that you have achieved in the past, and you told me about the millionaires that you knew, I've met a huge number of wealthy people over the years, including people like Sir James Dyson and Richard Branson. And the common thing that the wealthy have is a state of mind that will never allow them to be truly free or to be truly real. Let me try and explain what I'm saying. There's not a person in this world who, on the day that they die, does not experience terror at that point. And the reason they do that is because none of us know what's on the other side of death, and none of us know whether we have truly been good enough. And that's as true of me and as true of you as it is for everyone else. So it doesn't matter whether people spend their time saying, I don't fear death. God knows he has the last laugh, because that is bullshit, utter bullshit. You've been on your journey on the Alpha course because you're trying to find something that will free you from the fears and anxieties that are just beneath the surface. And because you do want to become the person that you were born to be. But to become that person, you've not got to give away all of your wealth, but you've got to turn from how you have lived before. And the reason why I've kept in touch for 2 or 3 years is because I've always known there was going to come a time where, like the window when you're coming back from the moon, the window to land on the earth is a tiny, tiny angle. If you get it slightly wrong, you bounce off and you disappear into space. If you're wrong the other way, you burn up. That's the window that I try to catch with every person that I choose to work with. And I do choose every person that I work with. You are now approaching that window. And if you don't seize it, you will never become the person you are capable of being, which, as I know from the last but one conversation, could be a deeply spiritual teacher helping large numbers of people to find a better path and a better life, and find the true answers rather than the false answers that, as you found on the Alpha course, are ultimately where most things end up. And one of the reasons why they end up there is because the relationship between Jesus and God and the religion of Christianity is that very few people have ever understood either how God really works or what Jesus was really saying, which is why it was that every one of his parables, he said, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear, and he who has eyes to see, let him see." Which is really a way of saying, I understand that most of you are deaf and blind, and you won't get what I'm saying at all. But I have done for a long time, and you have got very near as well. So, what I'm saying to you is that I hope you will watch this video. It doesn't matter if you do or not. In the end, I earn the good karma for sending it to you. But I very much would like you to take the next step where you and I can work together. And in a way, by dangling the possibility of you rapping and being the first person of your age to rap something beautifully with a very powerful message to everyone, but directed at old people and the way that they think and the way that they live in a state of living death for 40 or 50 years. Because the moment that you give up on what you truly want deep inside, which is the moment that you decide, for example, that you can't take the path that will lead to money and wealth and freedom as a reward, the path that I've taken, and the moment that you realize that you don't want to change enough to find the beautiful place that is within us all, behind our ego and behind the bullshit of what we tell everybody, which most of the time, when we're telling it, we know inside is bullshit. It's effectively just protecting our ego, and it's not about what we really want. So the really key thing is that I've twice offered you opportunities to work with me for a lower figure than the minimum cost of LifePaths. And I say the minimum cost. And you have walked by. So the minimum cost of working with me now for you is £5,000. That's the minimum cost if we're going to start the next part of the journey. But we still need to have a conversation to work out what is the right figure, because it's always a right figure for you, and that needs to be a very honest conversation. And we need to work out what role I'm going to play with you is, and how I'm going to get you across the bridge of faith which you are now standing at one side on, and I want to help you cross to the other side, which is where I am and have been for a long time. So that's pretty much it, really. So let's catch up soon. You'll get my letter. I won't phone you immediately. What I hope you will do is that you will ring me, because that will be the best way. And we are at the stage where there is probably 1 or 2 times more maximum when I will give you this kind of attention before we are working together. In other words, if you don't seize the moment very soon, it will become very much more difficult for you to seize the moment, because I won't be helping you to seize that moment, because I put a lot of time into what I've done so far, and in the end there is a limit to the amount of time and energy that anyone can put into trying to help anybody. And as I will say in my letter, I never give up with anybody, and I won't with you. But in the end, once we get to this point, you are starting, if you don't seize the moment, to drop down the list of people that I will be spending time on before we work together. And that would be a pity, because I think you and I could work together really, really well and get you to an amazing place. So take care. Thanks so much. Bye.